And so next I want to talk about the substantivist approach to economic systems. Okay. And this basically studies the daily transactions people engage in to get what they need or desire. So this can be purchasing items, this can be bartering, this can be trading, this can be stealing. Okay, it's focusing on those daily transactions that people are engaging in. Okay. And so the goal of substantivist approaches to economics is to describe how the production and redistribution of goods were embedded in and shaped by non-market social institutions. So things outside of the market's control. So things like the state or religious beliefs, gender roles, kinship, marriage, those sorts of things. Key characteristics to remember in the substantivist approach is it's very relativist. So societies have these unique social institutions. Their religious institutions and kinship beliefs are unique and based in their own culture. So to understand the economy, it follows that you have to be relativist. You have to understand first these social institutions in the specific cultural context before you can begin to take on the economic system in its specific cultural context. It's also evolutionary in the sense that it focuses on and believes that economies are changing over time and that they'll continue to change over time. And it's going to be focused on the whole society and its institutions rather than on individual behaviors or actions. Okay, so while it's looking at the daily transactions that people engage in, it's focused on the society as a whole rather than looking at one specific person or one specific subgroup of people in the culture. So then we want to move on to Marxism. And so Marxism is probably what you've heard most about and heard most kind of colloquially. People will talk about Marxism in very just kind of non-academic settings. People will talk about it a lot when they're talking about economics. Okay, and so the goal of Marxism was to explain how an economy based on inequality reproduces itself and how production and trade of goods reinforces and maintains this inequality. Okay, so the emphasis here is on the difference between classes, those being the owner class and the working class. And basically the owner class appropriates the working class's surplus value, and that surplus value is just the difference between what we produce and what we need to survive. And so the working class doesn't get to keep that surplus value. The working class gets what they need to survive, and the owner class takes their surplus and keeps it in their possession. And they can do that because they control the means of production. They control the infrastructure and machinery and things needed to actually produce the goods. Okay, so if they're in control of that, they can control who has access to it and thus the wealth and surplus value that comes off of it. And this is a very, very quick Marxist introduction. So if it interests you, go read more about it because this clearly isn't the whole theory, right? There's a lot more to it and it goes beyond that and it's much more complex. But for the purposes of this class, that's all you really need to know. And then also remember that this kind of Marxist analysis and focus shifted anthropological focus toward power and unequal distribution of wealth, kind of away from what we were studying at the time. So it helped to shift our focus a little bit more towards inequality and things of that nature.